I forgot to mention that Wilmington, Delaware does have a have made professional sports, but just not major league sports. That's what I was talking about in the last Wilmington video. So there are no like NBA, NFL, and MLB teams, but there's a minor league Kansas City Royals affiliate called the Wilmington Blue Rocks. Those games are a lot of fun. Friday nights in the summer they do fireworks, and it's fun. There's food and stuff, and I think it's a fun time. And also Wilmington has the Delaware Bluecoats, which is the Philadelphia 76ers G League team, and those G League players can often get called up to NBA anytime. So those are um, high level players, and it's a lot of fun. Um, and it's definitely, I think it's quite a bang for your buck. Um, Pretty cheap tickets, but it's high level basketball. And also, um, there's two beer gardens. There's one at the Wilmington Riverfront called Constitution Yards. They have food and live music on the weekends and axe throwing. And then there's also the Maker's Alley Beer Garden, which is actually year round. And because they have like a rooftop cover like for the winter time, so it can be warm. Yeah, they have food also, and it's actually literally in an alley, so it's kind of pretty cool. It kind of gives the gritty East Coast city brick feel, kind of, and it's kind of like a good, cool little venue. I wanted to talk to you about um, the reputation that Wilmington has about crime. So it's just kind of common with any um, older U.S. cities. Or maybe any large city, any city, urban city. Yeah, Wilmington is still uh, more or less racially segregated. Um, uh, I don't think I've seen any when I say that, there's no I haven't seen any overt racism for anybody really, but definitely there's like a majority. Well, Bloomington is over 50% African American, though there are some white neighborhoods. Or the white neighborhoods are typically more uh, middle upper middle class. There are some pretty like upscale areas too within the city limits. But yes, over 50% black, and a high percentage is low income within the city. And there's history to that. So Wilmington first population boomed during World War I, World War II, because there was a big shipbuilding industry, shipbuilding, and there was also uh, leather manufacturing, train car or rail car building. So it was a big manufacturing center. Brought in a lot of, uh, I guess, Irish, Italian immigrants, Polish immigrants, and then also it was part of the um, Great Migration of African Americans from the South into northern cities for jobs in the factories. However, after World War II, generally manufacturing in the U.S. started to decline, and in the after the Martin Luther King assassination. So I think this was the time that there was like white flight, like white people moving out of the city had already started happening, with more building out in the suburbs, and uh, people being um, moved out because of racism, and I think it wasn't as like a majority of black at that time, but it was getting there. And then so there was the Martin Luther King assassination, which caused riots in the city of Wilmington, and it caused the longest National Guard occupation of a U.S. city in history, I think, to this day. And so that kind of put a damper on things. And so since then, there were even more white flight, people moving out of the city of Wilmington, and due to history of, well, U.S. history discrimination, that took out a lot of the money out of the city, and you know how U.S. public schools they're funded through property tax, so there were less uh, actual property owners in the city, and that's kind of how the general story goes with inner city poverty in the United States. Lack of resources, with resources leaving the city, jobs leaving the city, so jobs go to where there's more workers. So if you have more skilled, educated workers in one area that have more better paying jobs, so that's the general story. But I mean, there's still some upscale, and then with there have been efforts to really uh, create more of a attraction for renters or homeowners within the city. So they really put an effort to revitalizing downtown Wilmington. A lot of restaurants have opened in the past, like 15, 20 years. And yeah, so there's quite a few reputable restaurants now in downtown Wilmington, and the developers are really trying to. Well, their claim is that they're not gentrifying neighborhoods; they're developing areas that are undeveloped, and I think at least in the rhetoric there seems to be um, inclusivity, and they do seem to do some work like to help the lower income community. So I hope to see there being more equity in the city, and I don't think it's right for that. Uh, there's still to be segregation, and then there's more poverty and crime in those low income neighborhoods. So that's the problem you see in many U.S. cities. But yeah, but still there's I think where there are things to do in the city. I think there's efforts to change the things as far as the crime and poverty and the low income areas. Um, yeah, so I hope to see that in every U.S. city, really.